Well, that's us live. I've just got the thing saying we're live. Ooh.
We're live. Yes, we're
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. So that's a bit different from normal what I've been doing. Normally I've been doing reviews, but I thought this week I'd try back and forth about music videos, just something slightly different. So I brought in Ronnie McGhie, who I've known for years, who's a radio presenter I've known since 3TFM, Urban Beat. You're now on your Isher Online Radio and Pulse just now.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so I've known Ronnie for years. I thought, when I since thought music videos, has to be Ronnie. I have to ask him because
Thinking back,
know them all.
Peter, thinking back, we must have known each other for at least 14 years now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because 3TFM just seems like such a long time ago now.
Yeah, I mean, it was something like that. I mean, it was a while ago. The last decade and a half has been a blur. It's like I have no idea what time is what anymore.
Oh no, they were good. They were good. They were good times, Pete. They were good times.
Yeah. I should point out, me and Ronnie were both instrumental in actually building Urban Beat. So we were both in the trenches for a long time together in that thing. So we know each other pretty well now, good and bad.
Yes.
So as soon as I thought music video, I thought it has to be Ronnie. There's no one else. I didn't even think of anyone else. It was like, well, if Ronnie says no, who do I else ask? Because he's the obvious person I know to do this. I mean, because you love music all the way through, so you love all sorts of music. So you're kind of probably much more of a good person after this. Plus, you know the kind of selling the music, because there's some people who love music, but some of the music videos are what bands used to sell the music to the public. And you like that stuff too. You'll understand that stuff too. That's kind of what music videos are. They're kind of what was advertising of the songs that became its own little art form. And it was very big in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I've been involved in radio and in music since the mid-70s. So I've always had that love of music. And of course, you didn't really have music videos back then. It was only until maybe into the 80s when MTV really took off that bands spent good money, a lot of money, on music videos. And I think we have two videos that I have picked, or one that you've picked and one that I've picked, that could possibly be £1 million plus videos.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is, in the 70s, you had Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And you'd have little dinky videos where they would use the cameras and they'd use the visual boards to do all these weird psychedelic things.
Yeah.
And hope for the best. And then they would go further and further and further. I mean, I think the pioneers we could say is Queen.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because Queen kept the interest in it. And also they had a sense of humor about it, which helped a lot. Because it was like, you can make this stuff funny and people can enjoy it. And it doesn't have to be just a bunch of bands just yelling at the camera. You can have some fun. And then they brought in good directors. So there's a lot of people directing music videos. That was a start in filmmaking. So people like David Fincher started in music videos. Michael Bay started music videos and advertisements. A lot of people, Russell McKay, who did Highlander, started off. And he did one of the videos I'm going to talk about. So it's like, as you said, it became bigger and bigger and bigger as they went on. So it was quite.
You mentioned Top of the Pops there, and it was Top of the Pops really that we started getting what you would call the early form of music videos, because a lot of bands couldn't go over for Top of the Pops. So a lot of the American artists would have it be a performance video recorded in America and sent over to the BBC for Top of the Pops. And you had a lot of bands who just didn't want to go on Top of the Pops because they didn't like the fact that they had to mime. I was watching a TV show yesterday morning when I got up having my breakfast, and it was Paul Simonon, who used to be in The Clash. And The Clash just refused to play Top of the Pops because they had to mime. So them and other bands of that ilk just recorded performance videos. It could have been something daft like the Top of a Roof. Nothing artistic. It was just a performance video somewhere in London or the Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, because they were miming, it allowed some bands to actually go crazy on Top of the Pops, do crazy dances and stuff. It was like,
Yeah.
well, we don't have to worry about the song. We can just be entertaining. So it was like, it had its plus, it had its minuses, because some of the Top of the Pops bands, they looked crazy. And it was like, that's why you watched them. Sometimes you're like, how crazy some of these band members are going to be.
I know. I kind of think some of the bands went on and just wanted to take it to the limit of what they can do. I remember Nirvana on Top of the Pops, and Kurt Cobain turned his guitar around and he was just basically playing the back of his guitar. Just basically, I mean, a lot of bands putting the middle finger up to the BBC.
Yeah.
That was it.
You've got to realise the stage of the Top of the Pops was only there for one day for that show, and then they've turned it around and made a Doctor Who set.
Yes, that's exactly what it would be, yeah.
If you look at some of the sets in Doctor Who in the 80s, they look very close to the Top of the Pop set, because they are the Top of the Pop set been redressed. That's what they are. So,
but let's not knock the Doctor Who sets, because back then they were brilliant.
Yeah, I think that was quite a good thing. It's like, what we got? Let's use this. It's like, well, for no money, we don't use this. But that was what they did.
Yeah. I know a few people who actually went to Top of the Pop studio to be part of the audience.
Yeah.
And it was the same 50 people. They'd only let about 50 people in, and they herded them from one stage to the next. So if you were on Top of the Pops, you would see yourself at every band. So it was just herding all the people into a pen before the stage and telling them to look happy and dance about.
Yeah. Don't be that miserable guy standing there going,
that would be me. That would be me. I'd be going, yeah.
Yeah.
But Top of the Pops was excellent. And of course, we're also, I mean, we could talk, I mean, there's another subject. You could talk about music programs, but for me, you had the Tube, which was brilliant. And it made a lot of videos for bands, and it actually made bands like Simple Minds and U2.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things. It's like, that's where you got a lot of bands as they came up, because they might not be like they would be number one straight away, but you get them, they'd be like number 7, but they'd get some playtime over a few weeks sometimes, because they're the bands who would come and play all the time, because it's like, this is free advertising, let's come see this. And then when they get bigger, they're like, oh, let's do a good music video, because we know actually what they're looking for now. And it's slowly built. And then you people like Queen, who were like naturally theatrical.
Yeah.
To such a case, it's like, did they actually do the songs thinking music video as they were writing the songs? Because sometimes it was like, really? This feels like it's all been planned out as one big piece.
Well, I think nowadays, when bands are going to release singles, I think they know exactly what they want the video to be.
Yeah, I think they're used to it.
It's scripted along with the lyrics.
Yeah, it's in their mind. This is what you do. This is what you do as a successful singer, is you plan how you're going to advertise it. And that's the way you advertise the music video. But I think because we're older, we think music videos a certain period has been great. And I think also because we came up early with them, the more ridiculous they were, that was part of the fun. It's like, because you're looking for the car crash, there's always going to be a few a year that were total car crashes. It was like, what were they thinking? And that was the one you want to see but 10
times. That's the ones you want to see regularly.
Yeah, it's like something like so bad, it's awful, that it's wonderful. Especially if it was a good song but a terrible video. It was always made it more fun.
I remember getting back to the Top of the Pops era into the 70s. There was a song, I forget who'd done the song, but it was Hello, This is Joni. And it was about a guy fell out with his girlfriend and she drove off into the night to wait to go back home. He's trying to phone her to apologize. And unfortunately, tragically, she crashed the car and she was no longer with us. And the video for it was just so, I'm going to say corny. I'm going to use the word maybe a bit sick.
Yeah. I was thinking one of your video choices there as soon as you're telling that story. It's a bit more extreme.
But into the 80s, it was definitely the video did kill the radio star, because you had the MTV, and MTV itself started, I would say it was probably rock music based,
Yeah.
because a lot of rock music bands were making videos. Then all of a sudden you had R&B videos, then you had rap videos, which no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say, well, I'm going to say, for me, I used to call it rap with a silent C.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
thankfully, because of good friends, I now see the artistic value in rap music and hip hop.
But at the time, you was like, "What the hell is this new stuff?"
Yes, exactly.
Thing is, because I'm younger,
yeah,
I was like okay with them.
much younger, I hasten to add. Now, Pete,
Less so you think.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, Pete, what was the first music video that ever caught your attention and you went, wow?
The thing is, because I was born like in mid-70s, they all came early 80s. They all seemed to come at you like these. Like you had a lot of the new wave 80s stuff coming straight at you. So it wasn't just one; there was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I can remember Dexy's Midnight Runners now from Coming Eileen. Remember that video?
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, I was babysat by my cousins who were older than me, still watching all that stuff. So a lot was in my head, even though I had no context for it. It was just these images coming at me because it was just who my babysitters were.
Yeah. The first video that really made me go, wow, was the band we were talking about, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I mean, how someone came up with that idea? Because you had a semi-operatic song. How did you put it into video? And they done it amazing.
Well, that's the thing. I think they love doing that stuff, though. I think some bands, it's the advertising, but some bands, it's like, oh, we love this. We can't wait to do this stuff. This is fun. This is the fun part, because when you think about it, they've spent all that time writing the songs and getting it right. Then suddenly you can dress up and be silly for a couple of days to do your music video.
Yeah.
It must be like, for exhibitionists, it must be the most fun time, the fun part of the job.
Back in the 80s, I remember the early 80s, I actually bought video albums.
Yes.
You had like Olivia Newton-John, her album Physical. You could buy it as a video album where you get a video for every song. And then I remember buying Duran Duran's Rio. Because it was a video album as well. And you could put it on. You just watched all the videos and listened to it at the same time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was thinking in the 80s, early 80s, when video came out, they were trying anything.
Yes.
I mean, it's an era where you had, in one era, we had like video nasties on one side, and then you had these weird video albums, and they were all being sold at the same place. And it was like, we're just going, like, what works? Let's try everything and see what works.
I mean, bands, we did touch on it earlier, bands, when they're releasing a single, obviously, whether the band interpret it for a video or whether they give the whole thing carte blanche to the director to interpret their song into a video. And I know there's a few videos that we're going to talk about that is definitely the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the fun things, music videos, do you remember those shows they used to play from Europe and through the night? They used to show all these through the night shows.
Oh, wow.
And you'd get all these European ones, and they were always like the tacky versions of the stuff we were getting, but it was always like wannabe pop stars who weren't very good, and it was like a total car crash. It was like, I recorded these all the time because it was so funny. It was like, I need to keep on seeing how bizarre they're going to get.
You were obviously a night owl then, Peter.
Well, no, I recorded them through. I just set the video up and just recorded it and said, okay, go long play and just record all that stuff and I'll watch it later, because it was just bizarre European bands who never quite understood what pop music was, or never understood, or they were trying too hard to be something, and it never came out right, but it was funny and weird and odd.
I mean, Europeans had a different idea of what music was. I mean, the Eurovision Song Contest itself is a testament to that.
Yeah,
Watching it and seeing all these crazy videos that were made. I mean, look at one of the successful bands of that era were ABBA. I mean,
yeah,
their videos were absolutely shocking.
yeah. Yeah, I know, but the thing is, but they were professionals who understood music, though. So the songs
Yeah,
could get through that. You could survive a bad music video with a good song.
I
Ultimately,
think I think when talking about ABBA, the videos that I did like were the Winner Takes It All. I think I liked, what was their cover? The Day Before You Came, the Blancmange song. And of course, Mamma Mia.
yeah. See, I'm not an ABBA
showing
fan.
showing my
Yeah,
age now.
yeah. I was never an ABBA fan. I like Boney M. We're out at the same time. I was much more fan of
Rah
Boney M.
rah Rasputin.
Yeah, yeah, they were more fun.
No,
I
they
liked
were,
them more.
listen, they were good. They
Yeah,
were good.
yeah, yeah. But compared to ABBA, they were the small.
Yeah.
They were
The
small
poor
compared to ABBA.
relations, the poor relations.
Yeah,
But
but I liked
but
them better. So I was.
but as I say, Boney M, so many great hit singles, so many corny videos.
Yes. Oh yeah, but that's why you liked them. It's like, right.
Yeah,
But
of course it was.
yeah, I think we should start with the choices now because I think otherwise we'll just ramble on
We're
forever.
going to ramble on for hours and hours
Yeah.
and hours.
Yes. So I'll let you bring in your. I've got them here. So when do you want to start?
I'll just start with Simple Minds.
Right.
Right. It's Simple Minds Alive and Kicking. This is from 1985. Now, the music video itself is not a stunning video by any manner of means. It was filmed in the Catskill Mountains of New York State. But
Yes.
when I saw that video, it was a wow moment for me because I've been a Simple Minds fan since they began. And it's, for me, it tells a story of where the band were in January of 85 to where they were at the end of 85. Because in the space of 10 months, they went from being a theatre band to being an arena band. I saw them at the Barrowland in Glasgow, Peter,
Yeah.
in January 1985. I saw 3 nights. It was amazing gigs. Then things seemed to happen for them. They got
Yeah.
invited in the summer. They put out the single "Don't You Forget About Me," which was from the Brat Pack film.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. Yes.
Yeah.
Imagine me forgetting a film called The Breakfast Club.
I know it's.
And of course, and then that brought them into America's vision.
Yeah.
They then went to America. They recorded the album Once Upon a Time, and then they released the album. It was brilliant. Alive and Kicking came out as a single. It was a big hit. I then went to Belgium to see them live in December of 1985. And I couldn't believe the show they put on. I couldn't believe the production values. This was no longer a wee band from Glasgow. This was a band now that belonged to the world.
Yeah.
And Alive and Kicking, as I say, it's filmed on a mountaintop, on a cliff edge.
Yeah.
And it shows a new Simple Minds. It shows them with a female singer, which they had never had before. And it shows them with a percussion player. It just set you up for what was to come from Simple Minds over the next few years. And they were going to be one of the biggest arena bands of the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Me watched the video because Simple Minds. I was a bit young for them, really, ultimately. But I just watched the video. Technically, it was like they're using a lot of lightweight cameras.
Yes.
Because they can't really go there with any. So they're using these what these things is the little crane things that you can be mobile, so you can only go up so far, so you have to keep on cutting around it. And it was like there's lots of simple techniques of low budget filmmaking never use and cutting around.
Do you
just
think,
to get around it?
Do you think there was a helicopter used in that to get some of the filming?
Because maybe the final shot.
Because you've got that, you've got the shot where it's a pan shot of them all on the mountaintop, and I'm kind of thinking that must have been a helicopter. Whereas nowadays, a drone would do the job.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe the helicopter for one day, but a lot of it was just lightweight cameras that were coming out there because you could actually get like film stock that actually could get much more naturalistic light then. So they actually were using like independent filmmaking equipment to do this, really,
Yeah.
ultimately. And this would have been videos coming out and becoming much more a thing. So, but they were just using very basic techniques, but it was just movement, and just like this is the band, we're promoting the band, that's it.
Yeah, that was a 2-day film shoot. I can tell you that for a fact.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
it was.
I'm not surprised.
Now, Peter, you've picked some videos as well.
Yeah. I'll go to the obvious one. I Want to Break Free by Queen, because it was one of the ones I remember, because that was what everyone was talking about. It was like, you have to see this video, it's insane. And Queen had already done videos that were insane, but this one was them in drag. And then in the middle of it, they have basically an operatic sequence, which is the dream sequence of their characters, and the drag characters are playing having dreams of what they would like to be, and then you go back to the reality of them and as these women, and it's like, it's funny as hell and weird, and as pretentious and weird as Queen can be, but then having weird jokes at the same time. It's like, it's not taking itself too seriously, and it's quite funny, and it's just Queen. It's like it's just as ridiculous as they like to be.
I love the video, and of course, a big nod to the UK soap Coronation Street.
Yeah, I know.
Because you had Jarena Sharple's character,
Yeah.
But the shocker for me was, let's face it, how good did Roger Taylor look? Amazing from the back.
I know, it was very disturbing.
It was disturbing, but that video nearly killed her career in America.
Yeah, I know, they didn't like it.
That was a big no-no.
I know.
Cross-dressing, no.
And nowadays they'd be praised for it. It would be like,
of course they would. We're in the era of RuPaul's Drag Race, etc.
Yeah, plus there's also Freddie with the moustache and drag. That was.
But obviously, it was the Bible Belt in America that got that banned. You would have seen that video on MTV in the UK, but you wouldn't have saw it in MTV in America. Not at that time anyway. Probably it's on rotation now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's one of those songs that was one of the famous Queen songs. It's one of the ones.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And it is a cracking song and a great video. But again, what kind of mind thinks that up?
I think it was just been silly with each other, and then it was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. What the hell? That's what it sounds like. It's just like a bunch of people sitting around, and someone's a silly idea and never said, yeah. That was fun.
I just picture Freddie sitting there. Right, guys, here's my idea for the video. And he'll tell them on, he'll go, okay, Freddie, let's just do it.
Apparently, I think it was Brian May's idea, actually, that one. I don't think it was Freddie. I think he was like, I think it was one of those ones that was like, they're all going to think that was me type of situations. Yeah. It wasn't.
No, an amazing video. And as you say, I love the kind of dream sequences.
Yeah,
the kind of operatic part of it. I'd actually forgot about that part of the video until I watched it again.
Yeah, I know, but it actually makes it better because because it's already a comedy video, they can go so much further with the dream sequence and do whatever they like, and it's like, because it's a comedy video, so you're not meant to take it totally seriously. So,
unfortunately, the Bible Belt in America took it very seriously.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
I know what can you do, but a fantastic video, and people can watch that video anywhere on YouTube anyway, so they can. It is there. Now, my next video, Peter.
Yep.
It's a marathon video. It is a mini film. I'm talking about Guns N' Roses, November Rain.
Yes.
What a video. A fantastic song. But to interpret Andy Morahan, who directed it, oh my, it was amazing. The film is actually, believe it or not, it's based on a short story by a guy called Del James. It's a story called Without You. And the book is called The Language of Fear. And it's about a rock star grieving over the death of his girlfriend who had committed suicide.
Yes.
Now, the band, obviously, it starts off, you've got the leading up to the wedding.
Yes.
And then you've got the wedding sequence. where the rain comes on, November
Yeah.
rain, of course, where the rain comes on and everybody panics, jumps everywhere. The cake goes there, the bride goes there. Oh, it's a chaotic video. And then you've got sequences of the band performing live as well.
Yes.
Now, as I say, it starts off with a wedding and then it ends with the funeral of his
Yep.
girlfriend. We're not sure how it happened. Did she die at the wedding, or is this maybe a few years later?
Yes.
If
Yes.
we're going by the storyline. But what I will say is Slash's guitar solo on this, one of the best guitar solos in the world.
I'm not a Guns N' Roses fan. I'm the person to ask.
No, it's just the guitar solo is just amazing. So it's again, that film took about 2 weeks to shoot.
Yeah, it does feel like a massive budget, and
cost a fortune.
As I said to you before we started, this video feels like it was made in cocaine.
It really does. Definitely fueled by something, Peter. So it was.
Yeah, it feels some. It's like it's so over the top. It's like this is like a video only a band could do when they're at the top and no one can say to them, "And no, I don't do that." It's like, no, I'm doing it.
And do you know what absolutely pisses me off? You're watching late night. Before I go to my bed, Pete, I flick through the music channels. It's just a habit I've had for many years. And Guns N' Roses will start November Rain. And I'll say, yep, I'll watch this. And then I'll go to my bed. And they cut it off halfway through. You're just getting to Slash's guitar solo and they cut it off. And that really annoys me. If you're going to play a music video, play it from start to finish. November Rain, just an amazing video. And we're talking about good production values there for 1991.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I mean, things that feels like 80s video, though. I mean, this feels like 80s.
Yes, it does. I totally get that. And I think maybe that was intentional.
Yeah, because this feels like one of the last big videos before grunge kicks in and all the rest of it. And
the Seattle grunge scene.
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah, it just feels like this is the end of an era of those big rock bands who would, you could typify it as this one goes up to 11, the Spinal Tap reference. That's what the 80s rock bands felt like. It was like, how loud can we go? Like, how many eardrums can we destroy?
I think this was probably the peak of Guns N' Roses. As I say, not a massive fan, Peter, but I do like a lot of the singles. And as I say, I love this video. The band kind of started fragmenting after that, changing members, and it all ended in acrimony.
What's a band? What do you expect?
No, I should say to people, I'm the music guy. I love my music. You are the technical guy. You watch films and videos with a different eye from me.
Yeah, yes.
Definitely. And that comes over on your film reviews.
Yes. Yeah, it's probably because I'm practically like I've shot stuff, so it's like this is how you do it, this is how you don't do it. And but the thing is, it's different passions. I mean, you're really into music, like all the obscure bands I would have a clue about. I mean, when most of them come into your we used to do the session stuff. There's so many fans I'd never heard of. I was like, wow, who is this person? Oh, they're pretty good. Oh, right.
Peter, I look back on those days very, very fondly, and your help in recording, documenting even those sessions, just amazing. And they are out there on YouTube to watch.
We should say that when we record them, I'd never heard most of those bands before we started recording. No. It was like, okay, let's improvise this and do a video when you've never heard the song. That's like quite interesting.
I remember I was doing a wee digressing for a moment. I was talking about a session that we had in the studio, and it was a band called the Third Army.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember, you filmed that. You were stuck away in the corner, and me and Ben were hemmed in by a keyboard.
Yes.
And with a guy in a violin and things like that, and absolutely bonkers. How we worked that in a very small studio is amazing, and a testament to your talent at filming as well.
Thanks. But it was weird. There was lots of times it was like somebody me and James in, and we're both
Yep.
either side, hope the best. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll try and get something.
But documented, as I've said to artists many times, and I still do now, if they're doing a live session on the show, it's an organic live session. What will be, will be. And I think it's fair to say that it was the same with the filming as well.
Yeah, most of those videos are up on my channel now. So they're actually up. So you can see them on this channel. So it's not actually, you have to hunt for them. I think my next one is, since you went Whale, you did a video from the early 90s, Whale of the Drop. I'll do one too. KLF, Justifying the Ancients.
Oh. How clever were those guys to get Tammy Wynette to do the vocal on that?
I know, it's insane.
And what I really want to know, before you talk about the video, what I really want to know, do you think KLF really burned $1 million back in the day?
Yes, they did, because I've seen the video.
It could be anything, though. It could have been specially printed fake money.
No, the way they talk about it now is like, I wish we'd kept the money. It's like...
Yeah, I seen an interview with Bill Drummond, and he said, maybe that was a bit out there.
Yeah, but that was KLF for you. I mean, it's what you wanted from them.
I know.
Yeah, because, I mean, KLF and in the early 90s were huge.
Yes.
But they were one of the bands I really liked when I was a student. It was just, they were huge. It's hard to describe how huge KLF was because they were silly and they were fun and people just loved them. They were just like, they would take the piss at everything. They were just wonderful.
And that was what they did. But let's face it, their music was amazing.
I know. That's other things we say is the music was terrific, but they knew everything about the music industry because they'd spent the 80s learning everything.
Yeah.
So when they came together, once they figured out what they wanted to do, they could really do it and do some interesting stuff. And they're running it. They're now bringing those albums back out now, and they're now available for people to see. But you have to see Justifying the Ancient because it's so over the top, but wonderful and addictive at the same time. It's getting Tammy Wynette in the middle of it, and
I know
it's just insane. I mean, you could say this for any KLF song, but Justifying the Ancient just feels like it's like the one that's easy to say to people, watch this, and then you can watch the rest of them. But watch this first, it's easier to understand what they are.
I think when you look at the filming of it, Peters, would you say that was a very simply filmed video?
They're just coverage.
Yeah.
It was well choreographed. They worked out what they wanted to do before they went out to film it, and then they filmed the bits. So it didn't need to be too complicated with the camera moves. It was just like covering the idea they had. So I think it was a choreography more than the actual technique you did there. Really.
But Tammy made the song.
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, so un-rock and roll, it actually introduced Tammy Wynette to an audience that she never had.
Yeah. But that's what happened a lot. The 90s, there's a lot of singers that people weren't used to getting brought in by people who were popular. I mean, like Roy Orbison was brought in as well. Who was Mark Alban?
Oh yeah, Roy Orbison. You had the tracks that he did with Bruce Springsteen. U2.
Yeah, but they all loved him.
And Traveling Wilburys as well. Yeah,
I mean there was lots of people brought in at that time who were, there were people obviously the bands liked and were like, we want to bring them in. We want to push these out and say, you have to see these people, they're good.
It was showing respect to artists who came before them.
Yeah. There's a lot of that because there were fans as well as musicians and they wanted to promote these people. And the best ones, it was something like this where it was like, yeah, but they also make a really great song, And it was like, because she was the centerpiece of it and then everything else went around it. And there was like, they'd worked everything around it to be around her and not about them.
Now, Peter, I've got to ask you, what was their mode of transport for getting all around the world?
Was it not a van?
An ice cream van.
Yeah. And you was think I watched a documentary on them not long ago, so I should know this one. But it was just I knew it was a van, but I was like, what kind of van? I know it's something.
There
It's
was
something.
there was a documentary. It was on, and it was part of a TV series on BBC Scotland.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was Rip It Up. It might have been. They had a whole episode on the KLF, and it was fascinating.
You know, because I watched a documentary a few months ago called "Who Killed the KLF."
Ah,
That's really good too. So
I'll need to check that out.
Yep. So yeah, the KLF. I adore the KLF. So I'm quite glad people get to know them again because they are wonderful.
It's great. It's great when you mentioned it. It's great that the albums are coming back out, because see, for a long time, Peter, see if you typed into eBay or that looking for a KLF album, cost you a small fortune.
I know, but eventually they're bringing it back. So
I know. Looking forward to that very much.
yeah.
But what I would like, I'd just like a compilation, because everything would just be too much for me.
Yes.
So hopefully that'll come back.
Yes.
Anyway, my third choice. I'm a big fan of Ultravox.
Yes.
Ultravox with John Fox were an amazing band. Ultravox with Midge Ure, again, amazing band, but two very totally different bands.
Yes.
Now, this track came out on their fourth album, Lament, and Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, an amazing video.
Yeah,
many people would say it's probably a bit corny, but the video basically depicts a couple who have decided their way to prepare for their own demise after a catastrophic meltdown at a nuclear power plant.
Yes.
And it is a good video. I mean, and I was surprised when I found out that the band directed it themselves. It was Chris Cross and Midge Ure decided that was what the video was. And that, we talked earlier, I've no doubt when the song was written, they knew what the video was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's a band in charge of the video, it's all one thing. It probably takes as it goes along. It's like, we'll do this with this song now. We've got an idea. Yeah, it's kind of, I think it depends on who's in charge, really.
Yeah. I mean, you watched the video. What did you think yourself? Technical values?
Well, the video I saw was not the most high res, so it's hard to watch it.
It was never a high-res video to begin with.
I know, but it could be remastered to be a bit better. Like one of those things, you could remaster this one, but it is meant to be rough anyway. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of films in the 80s, like Threads and stuff like that, with that theme.
Yeah.
So plus, I watched quite a few of them over the last few years, so it reminded me of them.
Threads was an excellent series.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked it. It's one of those ones that was surprised because I'd forgotten what it was about. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a disjoint between the song and the video for a while until we got towards the end of it. Really.
I mean, let's not forget as well, when you're looking at that, the Raymond Briggs animation, When the Wind Blows.
Yes.
Similar situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's lots of these kind of videos at the time. It was just one of those things that was in the air. There was a lot of anti-nuclear protests. Yeah, it just as one. It was like, I would say it's not my favorite videos you chose, but I liked it. It just was a bit. I think early on it was like, how does this song connect with this video? And it became more apparent as you went on. But for the beginning of it was a bit like, how does this connect up? This seems like two different things.
Well,
it didn't make sense as you went on to it.
The couple in the video, Midge and the actress Diane Weston, obviously having a drink and then dancing with tears in my eyes.
I know,
a very literal translation.
I know what it's saying. No, it was just when he's trying to get back home. Start with it was a bit like disjointed, the music in the video, but it came together much more as it went on. So I liked a lot more as it went on. Yeah, but yes, it was.
I haven't seen the video for a while, so I'll need to check it out again. So I will.
Yeah, but that was just me seeing it for the first time for years, since the 80s. So it's been a while since I've watched it.
I mean, 1984. Wow.
Yes.
But you can tell there wasn't a big budget.
No, it wasn't. It was. But that's what I liked about it. It wasn't big budget. That's the stuff I liked, actually. It was just I was surprised, but it was actually a story to it because most music videos do not have stories to them.
No, they don't know.
Yeah,
They've taken the literal translation of the song
yes,
and made a kind of a
little
video
story.
for it, a short story from it.
It's a short film basically with the music.
Yes.
Music. So it's I did like it actually, but it was just one of those ones that was a bit weird to start with.
I've actually got a compilation CD of Ultravox.
Yes.
And on one disc you've got all the hits, and on the other disc you've got the videos.
All right.
And believe you me, when I put it on, the last time I put it on, the quality was...
Yeah.
The resolution wasn't that great.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, on one side were the hits, and the other side were all the misses.
Yeah. No. Now, Pete, you've still got some great videos to talk about. What's your next choice?
I'm going for Duran Duran with Wild Boys.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
Yeah,
love it.
So I was a Duran Duran fan when I was a teenager, and this one, because again, they were like Queen, as they were way over the top of the music videos. They had no self-restraint. They had no concept of self-restraint. They were enjoying themselves. It's
they had
obvious.
Bottomless pockets of money.
Yeah, I know, but you tell they were enjoying themselves. It's like,
yeah,
let's do this. Why not? Let's do this.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? When you look at all their videos from the early 80s, probably from the real album onwards, massive budget, and this video cost over £1 million back in the day.
Yeah, but it gets funnier though when you realise what it's about, because this was Wild Boys is actually a reference to William Burroughs. William Burroughs wrote Naked Lunch, so there's a high homoerotic quality to this video because it's intentional. It's not that they're obscure, but this it was based on a book with high amounts of homoeroticism involved, intentionally, and also because they all want to be in a Mad Max video basically as well. And Russell Mulcahy, the director of Highlander, directed this one, right? And he just said to the reason the song was written was because he said to the Duran Duran, I'd love to do something like this based on this. And they read it and was like, yeah, we want to do this too. And they wrote the song so they could do the video, and that's what you got. So before you know it, Simon Le Bon was getting strapped to a windmill, and which is funny because I've watched a film last week from the 60s which had the same idea of someone in a windmill going round and round. So I've done this twice in a fortnight, pretty much.
Wow. Now, you do know there was a mishap during the making of the video. The windmill stopped. Now, I'm not sure if it was Simon Le Bon to get caught underwater or whether it was John Taylor. I'm not sure. But they had to hold their breath for a bit till they got the windmill going.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It was dangerous.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things is like you should be really careful when you're doing that. But this is like the ultimate case of there really isn't a story to this thing at all. It's just visuals. And
sorry, Pete. I remember watching it for the first time, and I got the Mad Max. Definitely got the Mad Max reference to it while watching it, but also got a kind of a Peter Pan quality as well.
Yeah, because Wild Boys is
the Lost Boys.
Wild Boys and Lost Boys, it's a riff in that from William Burroughs. That's why there's because he's playing around with the Lost Boys, turning into Wild Boys. So that's why there is that too. And also Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome had the Kid Tribe too. So it was like everything kind of mixed in together. But basically, they wanted to do a Mad Max video. There's no doubt about it. And Russell Mulcahy, who then went on to do Highlander, which had a lot of similarities to this video. It was almost like this was his like testing ground for
the
visual
big screen music video. Because Highlander was a massive success, and it was a massive music video showcasing Queen.
Yeah, I know. The Highlander actually didn't do that well in first release.
No,
it was just cult film, and people on watching it.
Video made their money.
I know. It was one of those things. That's like, by the time people realised what it was out at cinemas, but everyone saw it in video, and it kept on getting bigger and bigger in video.
Yeah, I saw it in the cinema in Saltcoats. I think it was the La Scala, the big La Scala.
Wow.
I saw
And
that. That's where
I was
Mary and
too
I
young.
saw that film,
I was too young. I was not allowed. I was way too young for that.
and it was
I could not
brilliant.
sneak in. I could not look that old to sneak in to that one.
This is the one film I still have my VHS copy of it. I have my original DVD release. In fact, I've got probably 3 different DVD versions of it. And then I've got like anniversary DVD issue. Then I've got the recently released Highlander anniversary Blu-ray, which I've got to say I was very disappointed in.
Yeah,
I didn't think the print was that great.
Yeah, well, I've got the 4K on streaming, and I've got the Highlander. Actually, one of the first Blu-rays I bought.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
So, yeah, no, it was. It's one of those films everyone's seen multiple times. But do you have the director's cut of the sequel?
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah, the dreadful sequel.
Yes.
I've got all the American versions.
Yeah.
All
It's kind of sad. It's one of those things that you tell your Highlander fan. Do you have the director's cut of the sequel? Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
Do you know? At times, I wish they'd just left it as a standalone movie.
Yeah.
But they brought it back, and we had the TV series as well.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those things that they never found a way to bring it back clearly was the problem.
Yeah.
And plus, you get into Highlander 2 with all the problems they had making that film. It was a notoriously difficult film.
But all of a sudden, they're from outer space.
I know there's lots
of oh man.
Yeah, well, we'll go away from that. Otherwise, that's another thing we've worked for hours.
I know.
Right, your next choice.
My next choice is actually, we've talked earlier how I like to showcase local music.
Yes.
I'm a massive fan of a band from Elderslie called King of Birds. Their album, Eve of Destruction, I would recommend anybody to check it out. They're basically kind of Americana band. Yeah. And this album had this track on it. It's the Hard Times for a Good Man. And it was brought out, the video was brought out to showcase or to highlight, not to highlight that men can have severe mental health issues as well.
Were they on the actual, were they on
the... They were on the video. No, they weren't on the show. They weren't on every week, no.
Well, I've heard the song though, so you must have let me hear the song at some point.
Probably. Well, the thing is, the album didn't come out till 2019, so was well away for Irving Beat by that time.
I know, but the thing is, I've heard that song. That's the weird thing. It's like I know I've heard the song, so I don't know who had let me hear it or something, but or maybe you recommend the video to me or something.
Did you watch the video?
That. Yeah, but the thing is, I'd actually heard the song before. It was one of those things like, it must have come from you. You must have mentioned it to me or something.
And it's fairly obvious what the video is about, and it's fairly obvious what the central character plans to do in the video until he is shown that people love him and people care about him. But it was a great video, and for me, I loved it because it highlighted the male mental health issues. Check it out.
Yeah,
everybody should check it out. Everybody should check it out.
Plus, it's also shown that you can still make music videos now. It's not just the big bands who can do them. You can still do them, and
you can do them at a decent budget now, Peter.
Yeah,
so you can.
You just have to plan them, and you'll be fine. You don't have to spare a fortune. You just, if you've got an idea, you can shoot them pretty efficiently, and that's it.
There's a lot of very talented filmmakers, video makers out there that can interpret a song perfectly.
Yeah, and you have to find them. Have to find the right person for your song.
Yeah. Well, Pete, you've got 2 videos left. Whether we get the 2 of them,
we'll get through these. I'll go for Fatboy Slim, Weapon of Choice, directed by Spike Jonze, who's a big film director now.
Yep.
Christopher Walken. The reason this film was made was Christopher Walken was a dancer in theatre for a long time.
Not a lot of people knew that at that time.
Yeah, mate, it was only a decade and a half of his career. It's just because it wasn't film. And basically, and he had been in musicals, but he was like, he'd like to do one more time to just show off he could still do it before his legs went. Basically, he thought, well, look, there's only been so he's getting older. He was like, there's only so much I can really do now. And then because Spike Jonze is the director for Fatboy Slim had a new album out and a new song, Weapons of Choice, which is also a terrific song, but it's perfect for what they're doing.
It is, yes.
And this is a great video because it is a musical number to this song. And it's just great. It's just an experience.
I remember seeing it on MTV at the time when it was released, and probably saw it on Top of the Pops as well. And I remember, oh, there's Chris walking, and then all of a sudden he's up dancing, and I thought, is this animated? And then someone told me, no, the guy was a dancer years ago.
Yeah.
And Spike Lee, his interpretation of
Spike Jonze.
Spike Jonze.
Yeah.
Spike Jonze, an amazing interpretation of the song. Getting him, he's sitting in his chair at the start, and then he gets up and dances and sits in his chair at the end.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody saw it. He done it all by himself.
Yeah, and even when they cheat, when Walken's too old to do certain things, they're so blatant with it. It's a joke. It's not. They're not even trying to hide it, and it's wonderful because he just gets more and more bigger as it goes on. And it's just his imagination through this hotel area.
Yeah,
it's just beautiful.
I know. Every time I watch the video, I was watching a video earlier today, and the song that it's not that song I remember. I just think with Christopher Walken dancing, Rhythm is a Dancer was the song that was going through my head.
Yeah, it was quite. Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's a wonderful video.
Yeah. So I'll let you have your final choice.
My final choice is, again, a band I'm a fan of, but I'm more a fan of their singles rather than their albums, and that is REM. Yeah. In 1981, they had the album Out of Time, and this was a video that came out of it for their track Shiny Happy People. Yes. And it's probably the most un-REM-like song. And it's I'm going to give kudos to Michael Stipe, great performance, but Kate Pearson from the B-52s actually steals the show. Yes. And I don't know, do you know what the video's about, no?
China.
Aye.
Chinese communism.
It's a satirical song about the Chinese government's propaganda following the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests. Everybody saw it live on the telly, but China had to do a spin on it. Oh, everybody's happy. We're all shiny, happy people.
Yeah, and not much has changed.
I was going to say that, Peter, and that is the sad fact. Not much has changed at all. In fact, if you look at current events, the world is deteriorating as we talk.
Yes. But yeah, but it's a charming, old-fashioned kind of music hall kind of video, which is, I like that kind of stuff. I like old theatre stuff. I'm a total sucker for that stuff. So you put a bit of that in there and I'm going to be happy.
It's not a song that Michael Stipe of REM likes. In fact, he probably hates the song. But they very rarely performed it live. And I only remember a time they performed it was on Sesame Street, of all things.
Well, apparently he's actually warmed to it again. Apparently it's now kind of, he's like, it was just, from what he said, it was more because it was overhyped than hating the song. It was just like he was sick of hearing about it, and he's actually okay with it now. It's not a big deal. It's just like he didn't want to be that song.
Back then, it was probably an albatross round his neck, because all the great music that REM made, it was probably radio play was always going to be for Shiny Happy People. Yeah,
I mean, that happens to everybody, though. I mean, anybody in the arts, you'll do something you're really proud of, and then you'll do something silly, and the silly one's going to get all the attention. It's like, what?
Yes.
Why?
But
look at all this work I put in this one.
Yeah, it was a great video, and when you look at the colorization of it, it is very maybe 50s like, but it is Shiny Happy People.
Yes.
And it is a cracking video. I've always loved the song. But as I say, big fan of the B-52s. Kate Pearson, one of my favourite female singers.
Yes, I was I'd never seen this one before. I'd heard the song, but I'd never seen the video. So it was quite interesting to watch a video finally, because It was one of the ones I just missed. And I realized we said it was early 90s. It was like, I was moving away to university then, so obviously kind of missed. I must have just missed it.
I don't think REM have smiled so much in a video.
Yeah. Maybe the face gets sore doing it. And
I think it probably would.
You know, it's like, it's Mr. Burns trying to smile.
Yeah. Anyway, the final video, we'll leave it up to my host here.
It's Beastie Boys and Body Moving. Now, the Beastie Boys had a lot of good videos. They really... There's another band who enjoyed making videos and had some fun with it. Like, look at Intergalactic, or you look at Sabotage, where they were cops, like the 70s cops. They love this stuff. But this one was actually directed by Adam York, who won the Beastie Boys. And it actually took some footage from this film, which is... Oops, I'm trying to...
There you go.
Finally.
Danger Diabolic.
Yeah, which is a film I adore, by the way. I had to buy this from Australia. And it cost a lot of money. Yes, it was not a cheap buy. And it's a wonderful thing where they intercut themselves with footage from the film where they're trying to, where one of them is trying to steal a recipe.
A recipe of all things.
Yeah, I know.
A recipe for hot sauce.
Yes, and they're going through all this daring do sequences for their terrific song Body Moving, and it's just ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. Someone gets their head cut off, and then they come back the next thing with
a bandage and a neck brace.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. And the thing is, they do fight scenes where it's obvious neither can fight, and that's the joke. It's how bad they are at it. And
I love the fact,
silly.
Peter, I love the fact that at the start of the video, the guy's broke in, he's got the safe open, the owner, say, is lying in bed sleeping, and then he blows the safe.
I know.
Wakes everybody up.
It's just silly. It's just wonderfully silly. It's ridiculous. If you've listened to my show, you know I'm a big Beastie Boys fan. I think they're ridiculously fun. This is probably my favourite of the music videos, but there's a lot of good ones. But this is just the pure joy of doing something silly for a music video. It's like, we don't need to do this, but we're going to do it because we want to, because it's kind of fun to be silly.
I got kind of pass. All right, I didn't know at the time it was based on that film, but I kind of got elements of James Bond and even more elements of like Our Man Flint.
Yes.
Those kind of movies that didn't take themselves too serious.
Yeah, this film was a parody of those. But it was based on a French comic. And it was just, it took that French, like a French twist to certain genres.
Yeah.
And make them even more ridiculous. They took that and it was directed by Mario Bava, who's one of the big Italian horror directors of the period.
Yeah.
So he was having fun too. So it's a really fun film.
I'm going to tell you, Pete, out of all the videos that you picked, obviously I knew quite a few of them. The Beastie Boys video was my favourite.
Cool. Yeah.
Just loved it and watched it, and it was like 5 minutes, 20 seconds of joy.
Yeah.
Even when they fell out the bottom of the plane.
Yeah.
He got the parachute on. And
yes. Yeah, but for me, my favourite of yours was the Shiny Happy People one. I know it's ridiculous, but it's fun.
It is.
It's a fun
and you know, music videos don't always have to be serious.
I know.
Have a bit of fun when doing them. Some videos, I think they try to make them an art form.
Yes.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But get back to Duran Duran, a serious video, but they were having a ball.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't a serious video.
No. But it was based on something serious, but they were doing a ridiculous version of it. You just tell they wanted in the leather suits from Mad Max. That's all they wanted. They were like, we're doing the Mad Max thing, this one, we're doing it. We don't care.
Now, there's two things I need to think. I need to borrow that film from you.
Yes.
Definitely, I need to borrow that from you. And we mentioned with the Duran Duran Wild Boys video, we touched on Naked Lunch.
Yes.
Did you ever see the film with Peter Weller?
Do you want to see something?
Oh, you've got it. You probably get the box set.
No, not just. No, this arrived today. It's a new 4K.
Yeah. How coincidental is that? Anybody watching this? I did not know that Peter had got that today.
It just arrived. I pre-ordered it months ago and it finally arrived today. So this is one of my proud. I took friends to see us at the cinema and I was told I was weird. How dare they?
Yeah, I know. It is a weird film, but how do you interpret what was going on in William S. Burroughs' mind?
Well,
he was. I mean, he was a lover of certain substances.
I know. Yes, he's one of those writers. If you read about him, there's a lot of interesting stuff in his life. It's like I've read his biography, and it's quite fascinating.
Yeah. Now I've got to ask as well, Pete. Before we disappear, you mentioned you had the 4K of Highlander. Is it worth getting?
I've not watched it yet. I haven't streaming. I had bought it in streaming already and upgraded it in streaming in iTunes, and I've not yet watched it, so I can't tell you. But it's I'll tell you when I've seen it. I just haven't.
My Blu-ray that I've got, it is, I've got to say, it's quite grainy. But it didn't have a massive budget.
I know. I think it was probably similar to one I got, which was a remaster, but it was not a great one.
Yeah.
So
I've got an anniversary DVD in a steelbox.
Yeah.
And the quality of that is better than the Blu-ray.
Yeah. I've no idea really. I tested it out and it looks good. I tested, but I haven't watched it yet though. Because I've seen Highlander so many times. You just want to watch when you feel like watching it. You don't really need to watch it all the time.
I know. Anyway, you've delved in this week. You have delved into music videos.
Yes.
A little bit sideways step from your usual looking at films.
Something different. Just something different sometimes to try something unique and do something unusual because it could be fun. So
that's what it's all about, Pete. So it is. That's what it's all about.
So thank you for coming along.
Yep. I can't believe how fast an hour's went in.
Yeah. I'm hoping you may be available at some other point to bring you in for some other subjects. I think this was quite a good conversation. And hopefully people enjoyed this. And that's us for now. We thought an hour would be good for this subject. So that's us. I had backup stuff I didn't need to use, so that's quite good.
No, that's good. We kept it going. We stuck to all the videos we had picked.
Yep.
And that's it. I've got to say, thanks for asking me, Pete, and keep me in mind for any future film, any future videos that you're doing.
Right. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. I hope you all enjoyed this. That's us for now. Right. Bye.
Bye.